special guest for us today.
Yes, I do. I want to welcome Sherrie Clarke Price of Storehouse Media Group. And I know people are probably thinking, wait a minute, don't we know her already? Haven't we met her? I want to introduce you to the person I met a couple of years ago that helped me to get my book launched and the process we took. So please welcome Sherrie Price. Uh, Come on, Sherrie.
Hey guys, good to be back. It's so good to see you, Jennifer. Yeah, yeah, it's been a real trip working with you. I've enjoyed it. And a little feedback, because we're probably going to get into it, is that I am not surprised at your success. You have done great with your book,
Thank
but you
you.
are quite the go-getter. You get something. What I've watched and what I've helped you in your book about is you see something and you want it and you're like a dog with a bone. You just keep going and going and going. You don't care what the obstacles are. You'll go through them, around them, over them, under them. It doesn't matter. You're going to get that goal. So congrats to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, you believed in me, and so I want to tell people. A couple of years ago, I had my book pretty much done. But, it was all written. There was a good 175,000 words or more there, and I was needing an editor. And I was in that procrastination. I'm not really sure which direction I'm going in. I don't want to go in the wrong direction, so I was trying to learn and do. And I was looking at editors and talking to people and trying to get feedback. I had heard about Sherrie. I wasn't sure. I found her on the internet. I wasn't really sure. I thought, okay, let me send an email to the Storehouse Media Group. They're based in Jacksonville. That's not far from me. I could always make a meeting down there in Jacksonville. It's not a long drive. And so I popped out an email. And really, she caught up to me in an afternoon and we chatted on the phone for a couple of hours. She told me she was going to be driving up Interstate 95 in a few days and that we could just meet somewhere and I didn't have to travel. Um, we met again, a couple of hours of talking and what I perceived as my goals and uh, what she was offering. I have to tell you, the best decision I made in the entire book process is definitely Storehouse Media Group and Sherrie. And Sherrie became my editor. I couldn't be more pleased because she's made my words sound like I know what I'm doing. So thank you.
Oh, it was such a fun journey with you. I mean, that first phone call we had was a hoot. I just enjoyed talking to you. We just really clicked. And so I knew that working on your book was going to be a fun journey. And it was. I mean, I think you did really, before I got it, you did a really good job. It was almost 180,000 words,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was so good. And the way you wrote in you were writing what we call big,
Mm,
where you were giving explanations in
yeah.
details and to make the reader feel like they're right there with you. So when I got it, it was a well written book. We just kind of shaved it down some and
Mm.
did this and that and everything. So but it was
We,
fun. I enjoyed working on the
yeah.
book. I will tell you, I looked forward to working on it every day.
The stories, yeah. We were in a tweaking process, a constant. It's roughly overall the whole thing, 114,000 words now. So we really cut a bunch out, but you gave me the options, and that's what I appreciate, and that's what I liked because we worked. We used the Word doc. You could email me. I had a whole section to go over and to review, and I could either accept or I could decline or I could write an explanation on why we ought to hold on to it, whatever it might be. And you worked with that, and we worked all the way through that. I wasn't in a huge hurry. I wanted the right book out there, the right product out there. It wasn't, I have to get a book out. It was, no, if this is going to be me and this is branding me, then this is what it's going to be. But what I missed and what I wasn't aware of is okay, there's writing. And then there's, of course, getting the edit and getting it right. And of course, I needed a professional editor. That doing it with Grammarly, that wasn't going to cut it. And that trying to get friends That doesn't work, folks. I mean, they really want to help you, but to really know what editing is about, all of the different types, the line, developmental, copy, those things are important to know what they mean and to know what it's about for your book. Then there was that whole thought of what's going to be my cover. And all I could see was the front cover. I had my brain had never even thought about what the spine and what the back cover was going to say. It was just, what's the front cover going to look like? I had an idea. I sent it to Sherrie. Sherrie showed it to her people, Emily and Claire. Um, they did a great job. They brought my vision of the front cover to life. And then we started talking about spines and back covers, and it was like, oh, I have to make decisions on this too. Yeah, it's like I guess the book has to be in something, doesn't it?
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's a process, isn't it, Jennifer, to
It's
finally get
very much
there?
a process, and I got to marketing I think too late, even though I knew I needed to, but I do think that I probably should have been reaching out to Sherrie a lot sooner about, hey, what do I do for marketing? Because I really I didn't know what to do. Call libraries. I had no idea. Call bookstores. I had no idea how, as a self-published independent author, how I was going to get people to know about my book. I had Facebook, and my dogs had an Instagram account, which I stole from them. I didn't have all this social media. I'm 63 now, so that we're talking about doing this at really my 63rd birthday was September, and all this was happening. And Sherrie got me hooked up with you, Neil. Uh, what was it, September or October? We started
Yeah.
talking. And yeah, I think marketing, I've learned a lot. And I got a lot more to learn, but I've learned a lot through you and through Sherrie that marketing your book, marketing your brand has got to come before you actually have
Yeah.
a book in hand.
That's true.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
thought I thought I had to be holding this
No.
before I could tell anybody anything.
No, and a lot of the marketing goes to you. You gotta have certain things. Creating content's one of the hardest things, but a lot of marketing has to be up to you as an author. It's a little different animal than other marketing things because here's the people don't understand. Market and they will come. That's not true. Have a brand and market and they will come. I don't know how I can explain this to people that there's so many people marketing right now. How many of them are selling stuff? Very few. And you have to have a brand because people have to know, like, and trust you. And then trust the process, the reviews, all the different things. But if you don't have a brand and you market your book and you have nothing out there, and your brand could be your friends, family, all these other people that are saying, now you're a rock star. That starts the process. You market to the people you know first. And a lot of times people wait to day one, they push it's published on Amazon, and then they just wait and wait. And what you did, Jennifer, is you used AI and used all these other research to do some of these things physically that you don't do when you do online marketing.
Mm.
And you went out there and did and went after it. But I agree.
Yeah.
I'd say 9 months in before a book starts or more. If you're looking to write a book, you better start first building your brand before even writing the book.
It's very, very much that. And like I said, there's 5 years from the time I wrote the very first story to actually having a book in my hand. And I mean, 4 years and 10 months, but it was like there. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, all of this time, I probably should have been trying to build an audience, or at least a year ago, been building an audience or building someone who might be interested and having people and answering their questions and getting known. But you guys, I started, the marketing and the media with you in early October. You gave me the, one time a week to come out and guest host and to bring some people on, but to talk about me, because the realization in talking to Sherrie was that I can write, the next War and Peace or whatever it might be, but no one knows my name, no one knows my story or my background. Why would they be interested in Jennifer Clarke Eskew? Why would they want to read Becoming Fire? how am I going to get it in front of them? And one of you guys said something about when's the last time you were inside a big bookstore? So I went to a really big bookstore and realized my photo wasn't one of those celebrities that was going to be on the front windows of the store. I'm not a celebrity yet.
But
You're a
It's different.
celebrity to us.
Yeah.
but see, you've come a long way. You're
Yeah.
you're in that phase now to let yourself run till your next book comes out,
Mm.
and you're probably already writing book two right now.
Yep, working on book two, and Sherrie and I are definitely talking about book two. Sherrie is going with me to Crime Con in Las Vegas at the end of May for 3 days, because it is the world of true crime, and being accepted to that, applying for that was one of those things that I thought, okay, I'm already in for the penny, in for the pound. Let's just give it a shot. And I had no expectations of really being accepted my first year of applying, but I got accepted, to be an exhibitor. And I thought, this is great. This will be fun. And it's like, oh, this is going to be huge, going out to Vegas and having 8,000 people potentially seeing my name and my book while they're there, in the exhibit hall for Caesar's Palace. And there's more, as Sherrie and I talked about it, they're going to have creators there. They're going to have speakers there. They're going to have everything. Well, the creators are mostly podcast people. And so her and I've been talking a lot about that. And it was like, yeah, this is a big deal. Then we're looking at all the other things that CrimeCon does, because that is the book world. That is for the people that she and Storehouse Media Group are looking at, or people who are wanting to get their book out there. I'm also talking to Sherrie about ghostwriting, because I have a million stories in my head. I'm not sure I can write all that stuff, but maybe Sherrie can help me to get all of that into writing if I can't do it on my own.
All right. Yep.
Well, I will tell you, you're one of the most interesting persons to hang around when you get on those stories. They are so entertaining. Like, my daughter was just in awe. Like, oh my gosh, she's so fun and funny and interesting.
Well,
Like, yeah, I
mm.
know.
Well, she's
When you convey that to the book,
mm,
it's really like you can't make that stuff up that you did.
no,
And it's really an interesting, it's just, your stories and, woven together to be continuous. It wasn't just a pile of stories just stuck in there. There was a flow to them. There was
I,
a connection from one story to the next. And how did you get from here to there? Because it was all chronological. But you have some great stories, and I would probably be hard pressed to decide which ones were going to be the best. We may have to do two books or something because they're really good. And, your background is a very interesting background. So, especially if they're true crime and people love, law enforcement and cop shows, your book's the one to read.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, like I said, I wanted you in on here as my guest today, and there's a big reason. And it's not because it's April Fool's Day. I wasn't doing that to you. I just wanted you to know. Um, I wanted you out here because you got me going. Like I had a bunch of stuff written, but you got it. It's there. It became I like the book. Everybody's asking me, and I said, I was having issues of what I liked, what I didn't like, and I like the book now. I like it a lot, and that's important for people that are going to put their books out there. You have to really like what you have, or you're not going to sell. I'm following some Facebook groups for the most part that are either for people who are KDP Amazon or people who are Ingram Spark, and there's all these groups for them. And some of I guess the most difficult things I read of people that post, they talk about how they wrote a book or they've written 5 books and no one buys their work. No one's buying their
Yep.
book. And they've done these things. And I'm not really out there to throw so much advice to folks because this is my first go. This is my first rodeo on this. Um, but what I do see is they admit they did not do a professional, they did not do anything as regard as to a professional editing. They instead tried to do it all on their own. They did not seek help for formatting and getting it right. I remember when we were going with Emily and Claire, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, the whole book looks great to me. We were talking about the front cover, back cover, spine, and stuff. And Sherrie goes, whoa, 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 nope, not this, not this. Won't change this. Want to move this. The editor in her took right over of like, no, 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 no. I want it to capture the eye, not just the front cover, but that spine and the back cover. And she put her magic on it. And that matters, just having that extra touch. I saw the big picture. I didn't see the little fine stuff. But that fine detail is what a lot of your readers are looking at. How it looks, how it meets the eye. Does it appeal? Is it enough for me to pick up the book and read the back cover? Or am I moving on and not interested? Am I going to stop at that person's table and talk to them about their book or not? So that was all in Sherrie, and then her people. Like I said, I keep talking about Emily and Claire because they put these things together. They got it right. They got me formatted for both Ingram Spark and for KDP so that I wasn't worrying about that or trying to suddenly learn a brand new process of how something's done, only to have to learn it for the other business for them. I was just trying to learn marketing or how to do a podcast. And, it, you know, that's what you need somebody like Storehouse Media Group for. Because I already had vanity publishers coming at me and I didn't need that. And I understood what they were. I picked up on those very quickly.
And I think it's the
Yeah,
education.
it is.
Sherrie really gives the education, right, Sherrie?
Yeah.
I do. I love for the authors to learn. Excuse me, especially ones like Jennifer, who's hungry to learn, and they'll ask questions. And you ask questions, I'm going to answer for you because I want you to be successful. I mean, that's what you're here for. This is your dream and everything. But the whole thing with the book, there's a lot of different parts. You talk about marketing, and I say you could have written the best book in the whole world, but if you don't have a marketing plan, it's just going to be a book. Like you have to have a way to tell people about your good book, right?
Yeah.
And the editing is an area where people will skip. And I will tell you that, uh, you know, the Grammarly and all that, the AI editing is one thing. The human touch is another, because that's what connects you to the humans. But when readers pick up on that, I will tell you, readers will pick up if a book is not edited. And I personally, and maybe it's just because I am an editor, if I get a book that's not edited or poorly edited, I'm so distracted by errors, I can't read it. And what that ends up doing is it ends up taking down the credibility of not just the book, but the author.
Yep.
And so readers will know, I mean, they may not know, oh, they got this edited. They just assume it's going to be, but if they're going to they're going to spend their money on your book and take time to read your words, that you spent enough time and effort to get it right for them. And that's what they will walk away knowing. They won't even think about, oh, it was nicely edited. They're just going to say, wow, that was a great book. It's just one of those things
It's
that
true.
nobody really thinks about, but until they read a bad book.
Well, the number
Yeah.
one comment that I have gotten, and it's from strangers as well as people who know me, or my neighbors who they know me in passing or where my house is, but they don't know anything about me until they've read the book. But the number one comment I get back is how fast paced my book was as to making it easy to read. And I'm getting this comment all the time of, I couldn't put it down. I'm not able to stop reading. So I just got a text message from a fellow I used to work with back in the day. He's got his PhD. He's a professional engineer. He runs all of the ATF laboratories for all of our fire science. He's done a lot of things. And thank the world, John. I've been out there working with him, I guess, since like the late 90s. And he's like, I can't put the book down. He took it with him on a trip and he's like, wow, okay, this is good. I said, well, thank you
So,
very much. But I'm getting that from everybody. I'm getting it from folks I
right.
don't even know.
See, here's the other thing. You don't have a well edited book, Amazon is going to not show it to their audience. Amazon's very big about that. Okay, this was edited poorly, or there's so many different things, and sometimes there's enough errors that Amazon's going to reject it.
Mm,
But if they do allow it and they don't see it as well edited and not much, it's not received well at the beginning, it's never going to be seen on Amazon to the point where people can't even find it.
right.
So that's the power of editing. The cover is the biggest thing beyond belief. Without a good cover, you're not going to sell books. Period.
Right. Well,
And they do a great job of covers.
like I said, I've read these people on and their posts and all, and I'm seeing where they sold 2 books in like a year, or they
Yeah.
sold no books in a year. And they thought just putting it on Amazon, Amazon would somehow or another magically advertise for them. And that's not how that works. And as you and I have discussed, Neil, it's the star ratings, but it's also getting people to write a review. And you know, even if there was 1 stars and a bad review, I think it would still draw something on the algorithm to at least draw people to it. Um, you know, I, I I don't want that, but I'm just saying it's there. And I feel sorry to read these things, and it's comments over and over and over like that you're seeing from people, and you're going, wow, I wish they could all meet Sherrie. I wish they could all find a place like Storehouse Media Group to get their book to where it needs to be. The and I've checked on AI, and Grok agrees with me, or told me I was right. But I've also checked with some of these actual the big publishing and the medium-sized publishing companies. They all tell you flat out that 96% of the people who will write a book will not see 1,000 sales, and that's scary. Then you realize that Amazon at any given moment has 50 million books available. And we're certainly not seeing advertising for 50 million books come across. Uh, so those numbers kind of get in your head. Now, I'm at 4.5 months and I am right at the 1,000 number. I am not quite across it yet, but that's coming really soon. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. But Sherrie was asking me way back, what do you plan on doing for marketing? How are you getting your book name out there? Have you talked to people about letting you come and do signings? Have you talked to people about this? You know, why don't you come on the Neil Haley show with me and we talk about so that people can find out who you are? So that wasn't like an added thing she was offering me just because I don't know. She was offering it to me, and it was nice. Okay, I'll accept your invitation. I'll go on the show and I'll speak to Neil Haley. Uh, but I if people aren't doing these things, they're just not going to be selling.
No. And they're all just sitting there. And I think that the
Yeah,
biggest thing is go and get yourself, sell your book everywhere. That's it, period.
yeah,
You need
yeah,
online, you need everywhere. And
yeah,
that's it. And the book has to be your job
yeah.
in so many ways.
Well, it has become. This is my .card.com, my dot card. It's my new business card. So everywhere I go, I'm talking to somebody at a convenience store. I'm talking to, well, we just talked to the lady over at Home Depot. I'm letting them take their phone, their personal cell phone, scan my dot card in, and it takes you to my website. It takes you to all the stuff about me as a business. And so if they're interested in true crime, or they want to see some of my podcasts that I've been on, anything like that, they get all that information. And that's become my new business card. So it's just one more thing I'm doing to market me. Uh, and it was very affordable. It's way cheaper than buying business cards. So um, it was one more thing, one more effort.
All right. Awesome. All right. So final words for you, Jennifer.
Um, I would tell people if you have a book in your hand that you're wanting to get published, or you're wanting to write a book, you're thinking about it, one, go check out Storehouse Media Group. And if that's not for you, then you check some others. But do look at somebody on a professional level. If it's just for your editing, or if it's helping you to do the formatting, there are going to be certain things you probably don't want to do yourself. It wasn't my field of work. I think you got to sometimes defer to the professionals to get to where you need. If you're needing somebody to help market you, then you need to start looking around for who can help market you and your book, your genre, what you're doing, your brand, as Neil always calls it, your brand. Find somebody that helps you do that. Maybe they teach you the SEOs and how to do social media, or they show you about CapCut, because it takes a few minutes to figure out CapCut and then you get it. But learn those things. And you don't have to take, a 4-year degree in college. Just you're going to have to learn these things a little by little and work with people that can help you to get there, so that maybe by the second book or the third book, you're much more comfortable on those things and you feel like your book is selling. I think that that's going to help you more to get that selling going.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Well, fantastic. Go to storehousemediagroup.com for all things podcasting, social media, publishing, ghostwriting, everything. And
Yeah.
go to, again, jenniferclarkeeskew.com to
Thank
purchase
you.
Becoming Fire. Appreciate
Yep.
it, guys.
Thank you.